China's booming economy may have acted as a beacon to other developing countries over the last decade, but the financial crisis has exposed the nation's over-dependence on exports to maintain its runaway growth. As Beijing struggles to get the economy back on track, it's looking to Chinese consumers for help.
Wangfujing in downtown Beijing, the Chinese capital's most famous shopping district, and one that should be overflowing with bargain hunters on their lunch break. Instead, shops stand empty and potential customers express only the briefest of interest at the goods on display. The country's economy may be booming, but China's consumers are still reluctant to part with their money.
It gradually became traditional in China to put money away for a rainy day, to make provisions for the future instead of using tomorrow's money to realize today's dream. So Chinese tradition is to be hardworking, save, and make steady progress.
Over the last decade, Beijing has used cheap labour and low manufacturing costs to attract investment and drive growth with exports. However, that policy has seen domestic consumption fall to less than 50% of GDP, an imbalance that needs to be corrected if China is to lessen its dependence on consumers in other nations. And that's the problem the Chinese government now faces: how to convince a nation of window shoppers to dig deep into their pockets and spend the economy out of its current slump and continue spending in the future in order to maintain the country's economic growth.
It would probably be better for China to enlarge its consumption gradually, have it follow a growth in incomes, and it is important for social stability that people make provisions for the future. However, younger generations do not think that way, and when they become mainstream consumers, concepts of consumption here will change.
The government's efforts have been welcomed in many quarters, although those on low incomes will find it hard to answer the call.
With my budget, I can afford very little for clothes, €5. My trousers are less than €4, and these shoes just €2.
I think it's pretty good to encourage consumption because it stimulates domestic demand. Right now it's hard to find work, and domestic demand can boost business and jobs.
And right now, that's the government's main goal: keep the economy growing to maintain social stability, a goal that can only be achieved if it can convince its population to spend. Henry Morton, RT, Beijing.